1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go, let's go. We're in the chambers. Look, I'm ready to do a rap. Y'all ready? You ready, Si?
I just want to distribute these.
Okay.
I know you asked for these.
Distribute them first, and then we'll start the meeting. I just got it.
Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
A little more.
Good afternoon. Blessings to everyone. We will start the Department of Parks and Recreation Youth Program, one of the best departments in the city of Syracuse. We have Cho Majoke, Navi, that's my baby Navi right here, Monto, Taniagua, and of course we have Finance, what's your name?
Sam Russell.
Sam Russell, and Commissioner Byrd, and myself, Rashida Caldwell. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. So we're gonna start first side before we get the going on everything. I appreciate you giving us this work chart. And before we start talking about numbers, does anybody got any questions for this? You wanna wait? Any questions? All right, let's go. Let's start talking about the new budget. What changed in this new budget you just gave us, Si?
What changes have we made? What increases?
What is it?
I will go through. I'll start with a quick, if you don't mind, introduction.
Absolutely.
And then we'll hit some of the high points. So Saisha Byrd, Commissioner of Parks and Recs. I want to first, if you look out in the audience, start off with thanking my entire staff for being here and present and ready to answer any questions that you have of each department. I would name you all, but that would take too long. I also want to thank our seniors, our youth that use our rec centers and our programming, our contracted instructors, my finance person right here who has been really helpful in helping us stay on track as parks and getting the budget in on time, which is commendable. Thank you, Sam. My deputy, my senior leader, Connor, Chris, the deputy. I always like to start off with thank you. And our residents and our park associations and conservancy, because without them, we couldn't do this work. So going into the budget, I know some of the highlights I'll start with that has been important is I know we're going to talk about new positions. We're going to talk about any positions that are SURA funded, right, as well as vacancies.
Yep.
Where would you like to start?
I would like to start off with new positions.
Okay.
400.
So we,
Let's go.
so we have a couple new positions that we proposed. But many of them, I'll start off by saying, is staying pretty flat. We have abolished a few positions to create new ones. For example, we abolished a program director so that we can create a public information officer for social media and communication, which was the role that was being played, and we need that within parks. We have a landscape, that's our vacancy.
So I can make it a little bit easier so you don't have to go I think it'd be easier if you just talk about what you have first,
I didn't give you
and then what do you want to replace?
Okay.
Going through it. Yeah.
So we can start with admin.
Yeah.
So overall it's an increase of one position, but we are switching a few things around. We're replacing a landscape architect with a landscape architect 2. And then replacing an administrative aide that's currently vacant with an administrative assistant position. And then the only overall new position is the GIS specialist under admin.
What's that?
To oversee and facilitate city works.
What is that under? Because it's not under administrative.
It's under admin.
The GIS?
GIS specialist?
Yep.
Is that in the new page?
Page 197.
Oh, it's a new form. Look over
The
there.
new,
Yeah, it's a new, there was a mistake.
Oh, so,
Oh, yeah, you guys should have gotten a corrected roster
yes,
last.
we got it. We got it.
Okay.
So GIS.
And
So
then-
with this new position, do we keep ourselves at 9 or is it an add-on?
So it would be 10.
It will be 10.
Sai, how many open vacancies do you have right now?
We have that number too, it's right here.
So under admin, it would be one vacant landscape architect. That's the one that we're changing to a landscape architect 2, and then the vacant administrative aide, which is the position that's changing to a administrative assistant.
Those are the only 2 positions that are,
Under admin.
no, just total. You,
Total, there's assistant supervisor of parks ground maintenance vacancy, trails coordinator vacancy, storekeeper vacancy. Those 2 were just vacated recently within the last month or 2, which I know Casey's looking forward to filling those. There's a program director vacancy, recreation activity specialist, 1 senior rec leader, 1 therapeutic rec specialist, and a recreation supervisor, although most of those, I believe, are posted.
They're posted and we're doing interviews. I know for therapeutic rec specialists, we have 2 candidates right now. We're interviewing this, we're working on storekeeper. We have candidates for the trails. They're already been posted and we have candidates. The assistant superintendent as well.
so do you have, how many total positions is that? 7? 6, 7?
11?
11 positions, not the summer positions, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
those. Those are not including summer positions, right? So how many of those positions, if you know it, I know you're new to this position, but have been vacant for over a year or 2?
So that one, so
3.
3. Could you tell me the 3?
Assistant superintendent of parks, grounds maintenance, therapeutic rec specialist, and 1 of the rec program directors.
That's 4.
And,
I don't know if that was a year, but
yeah, that
almost.
one wasn't a year.
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys, any questions? I know they're the best, but come on now. Let's go. Oh, yes, and we got Pro Tem Hogan joined us.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, it's okay, Hogan.
We had another one.
Anybody got any questions?
So, yes, so the ones that you're mentioning now, they're not under admin. Where are those at?
So it'd be either grounds or recreation.
Yep.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Commissioner,
Yes.
how are we, I know why they're thinking, I mean, we've talked, so it's not as many questions. But how are we with this pools this summer, like, as far as hiring, where are we?
So the team has trained lifeguards. We have job offer letters coming in. I just approved 4 of them. We have managers in place. It's now recruiting pool security, overnight security, and lifeguards pretty set. Yeah. I can call Josh up.
Josh, yeah.
Hello, Josh Ayala, aquatic supervisor, City of Syracuse. We have currently about 80 lifeguards that we have hired for the summer city season, and we're on pretty good track to get the rest. Looking for 180 in total,
180.
so
but we
about
have
100 more
80.
bodies.
Okay, so it looks good right now about opening all the pools.
Yep, all 8, and we're looking to include 1 indoor pool for the summer season.
How many do you have full-time? Do you have full-time?
We currently, full-time, we have about 7 full-time employees that work year-round.
And what pools are those at?
Valley and Southwest Pool, those are
Valley
indoor
and
pools.
Southwest, okay,
That's correct.
all right.
I think I would attribute or a thank you to them for hitting, starting really early, offering several lifeguard trainings and opportunities for folks to certify, so.
Yes.
So Commissioner, I'm sorry I was late, but of the positions that are open, that've been open for a couple of years that Councilor Caldwell mentioned, how many of them are I didn't hear what they were, but how many of them are civil service exams? And if,
Before. The grounds one is, program is not. This one would be. Right? I believe 2.
so,
The ground supervisor.
so there is a list, and we've tried to offer jobs to those folks on the list?
Yeah, we're currently, so I know for assistant superintendent of grounds, there is already, so they're in their internal bids right now.
How long are we going through that? How much longer do you have to go through the internal bids for that position?
We just started going through them this last week, so we just got them, we're going through them now. So we're just setting up interviews.
So I'm confused. Maybe somebody could straighten that. So we got internal bids, but we got a civil service list. So if we did go with somebody internal bid, would he have to take the
No.
test or be in part?
No, excuse me, it's not civil service, it's bids. For the ground
So
superintendent.
Is it a title or is it a civil service title or what?
So I think the question that we'd have to find out is whether or not tests have been offered for these positions to know whether or
They're
not
not.
lists exist. So I mean, something can be civil service, but if the county hasn't, who are we gesturing to, hasn't offered a test,
Right.
there isn't an existing list. And so, we bid it internally according to the rules of the collective bargaining agreements, but not every civil service has an existing list somewhere with the county of people who have taken the test and qualified for the position.
Because obviously some of these senior recreation leader, recreation supervisor, senior citizen coordinator, some of these titles have been around for a long time, so there's existing tests for them. But you're talking about the titles that the city has put together, not having civil service
Right.
exams.
Correct, yes.
Right.
So they may be civil service titles, they may have been around for some time, but if the county doesn't have a current list, if the test they offered was years ago, that list is no longer valid. And if they're not looking to offer a test in the near future, we may hire for that position, and then once the test becomes available, it's contingent upon, how that person performs on the test, who's in the position.
Well, and a quest for clarity here.
Yeah.
There is titles here that there's not civil service tests yet.
I don't know off the top of my head, but if there isn't an existing civil service list, then,
And hasn't been a test.
then there hasn't been a
I'm just wondering
test.
if there was a test for any of these titles.
So we can certainly find out from HR whether or not there have been any current tests, but generally HR would catch those things if you try to fill the position, or once the test is given, they send those results out to the departments that have those positions to let them know, hey, the list exists, you got to interview these folks.
I think what we're trying to get at is that if if this title doesn't exist in the civil service lexicon, then is not a test, and then we still have the title here, and obviously salary attached to it. This is going to take a long time. You have to have a civil service test, then you're going to have to interview off the list, and then you're going to have to hire somebody. So this might
Right,
be
but you
vacant
are
for
able,
years.
sorry, Counselor, you are able to fill the position in the meantime. So if the county says, we're not going to offer that test for another year, we can fill the position, but then once the test becomes available, the person who's provisionally appointed to that position would need to score a certain amount on the test to retain the position. So we can find out for the vacant positions that exist, when's the last time the county offered a test to see, or, does the county, usually HR will also catch, we've heard the county's going to offer a test in 2 weeks, so you don't fill this position yet, wait for the list. And I'm just not sure off the top of my head how many of those vacant positions meet that criteria, but we can get you that breakdown in pretty short order.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner, on 215, are we, for the dog control, are we losing 3 positions there?
There was 2 part-time positions, and then 215, and 1 shelter attendant.
Okay, so we're dropping down from 7 to 6,
Yes.
and then the part-time no
Yeah,
longer?
we had those 2 positions. They were never filled.
I'm going to bring you back to administration, page 198. In your professional services, it may be a typo, but it's quite a leap from 1,000 to 100,000.
It went from, so that was in our recreation, and it wasn't being used, so we moved it to admin.
It was being used, but we're just
But we're
moving it
moving
from
it.
recreation. So you'll see a 100,000
Yeah.
decrease.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I haven't gone there yet.
We're trying to really clear our budget so that we see where the money's going. Sam's done a good job of dividing and moving things so that each department knows what pot of money they're working from.
So what is it that you're moving here?
$100,000 from rec professional services to admin.
So it was planning services
Yeah.
is used by the planning team for various
Yeah.
surveying, things like that.
Let me go back to dogs again for a second.
Oh, sorry.
So are all of those 6 positions, the shelter assistants, in Jamesville?
They are.
Do they have to live in the city?
They do. They have to live in the city.
We thought about trying to waive that. They're driving to Jamesville from living in the city at that salary?
Yes.
Doesn't make much sense.
So since we're talking about dogs, nobody else has any questions. Can you briefly just, tell me a little bit about what's going on with the shelter?
Where do you want me to start? So currently, our goal, and for the last 5 years, it's been a part of the budget to build a municipal dog shelter here in the city of Syracuse. And so when I came on, I know we've looked at several opportunities, properties, and it's just been really hard to find a place to put a shelter. And so doing some research, we have land, we have a whole campus that we would like to redesign into like a Parks Welcome Center destination. And so as we were thinking about that, we looked at it like, is this the place to put the dog shelter? We would have staff available. We could cross-train staff to help with the shelter if needed. We would have grounds there when we need tools. We wouldn't have to cart material to Jamesville twice a week. The current shelter is really small and it's not fixing the problem, right, of stray dogs.
So with that being, do you have like a plan of, I know we're gonna have to probably bond at first to get the structure, but what's the plan to, get this money to build this?
So currently, we're working with a few consultants to search for grants. There's a lot of grant money out because come December, the laws are supposed to change around dog shelters. So we're working with someone that is a part of that writing of the laws to seek funding for the building of the shelter. The current plan was to use some of the capital money to do the planning, check the ground, make sure that it could sustain a shelter, and then start the build. So working with the planning
Which capital
team.
money? Look, I'm like,
Good afternoon, Josh Wilcox,
I can
landscape
answer that.
designer, Parks. Which capital money? This year we had $1 million in our capital improvement program for 24-25. We plan to use 500,000 of that for feasibility design to look at not just one location, but a couple locations within our campus. We really have to go through feasibility first of the ground. Through there, whatever we have left over from that 500K, we plan on sticking that towards the construction. And then we have $2 million in the 25-26 capital improvement program for the municipal dog shelter construction.
Which $2 million, there's no way we build that with $2 million.
We have to go through the feasibility study. Right now, we're estimating around $300 to $350 per square foot for around a 10 to 12,000 square foot building. Yeah, that gets you into the $3.5 million range. But again, with supplementing grants, capital improvement program funds for the campus as a whole, we think we can at least get to double to triple the capacity of what we have now.
And the county hopefully is coming through, right? Mm-hmm.
We hope.
Working with the county.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I say that with about $2 million because I've seen what Rochester's doing for $1.875 million with just the renovation, and that's not even close to a full build out. So.
No, that's 100% correct. We plan, again, the feasibility of seeing if we should go for 1 story, 2 stories, how does it fit in the neighborhood, what's the feel and the character. All that's really important. We plan on taking those designs, concepts to the council, to the public, still sending some feedback. But really, our mission is just to fix what we don't have.
Anybody else have any questions?
Oh, I had a question. I saw a forestry technician. We had 2, you wanted a 3rd. Tell me, what is the title of a forestry technician? What does he do, or she does?
What do they clean out and I have my expert here. They clean out the vegetation. They keep our trees healthy. And Steve, actually, I'll let Steve talk because he has some good news about that 3rd
Thanks,
position.
Steve.
Hi, Steve Harris, City Arborist. Counselor, could you rephrase the question?
Yeah, so we have on the budget to supplement a forestry technician, and we're asking to hire another one. So I don't know what the title is of the forestry technician and the need why we need another one.
Sure. We are 2 forestry technicians. One is in charge of the planting plan. We plant 1,200 trees a year and community forestry education and programming. And the other does permit review and design review and permit enforcement. The 3rd would be in charge of managing our natural areas. And we added that position with the understanding that it would be 100% grant funded. And we just received notice at the end of last week that we did receive the 2nd grant we are counting on, which would allow us to reimburse for this position for 4 years, a salary plus fringe.
It's like what you did last year when we had the Earth Core project at Schiller Park.
They would help oversee the management of those projects,
Okay.
which are also grant-funded projects or capital-funded projects.
Right.
So the amount of natural areas and vegetation management that we're being asked to do every year increases, and because it involves something green, it rolls uphill to the forestry division, and so this will allow us to meet those demands in a more timely fashion and execute our grants more effectively.
Good. You can do field trips too, have the kids come in, right, Commissioner?
Right.
I think that would be another good project.
Indeed.
And Claire does a good job with
Yeah.
working with the youth centers to educate them about, tree health, vegetation. So they partner with Onondaga Earth Corps as well.
That's good. That's good. No.
Yes.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Yeah.
Aisha, while we have a few minutes, can you just briefly talk about the parks that are getting some stuff done this summer?
So I know what park you want to hear about. So we have a couple huge projects going on, as you all know. I'll start with indoor facility. So e-gaming has gone in at Wilson and Southwest. It's about 80% there. You will all be invited to the ribbon cuttings for those. Jubilee Park, the stage is almost done. And I think we're starting to hear from other neighborhoods, like, how do we get one of those? So I think having a covered stage is going to be really popular because it gives us the opportunity, to host talent shows and music around the city. We have a pavilion that just went in at Thornton Park that needed to be replaced. It was there for 20 to 30 years, and it was just time. We're proposing another one at Elmwood Park, another big pavilion at Elmwood Park. He's not listening.
He's not. You didn't hear that, huh?
I was there yesterday.
Did you hear what I just said? What did I just say?
I don't know.
A new pavilion at Elmwood Park is in the proposal now.
Come on, man.
We're replacing and repairing a lot of sidewalks that need to be replaced. There's so much going on. you know, some splash pads are coming. Splash pad will I say come alive this summer. Josh, what am I missing?
Yeah, come on, Josh.
That's why I bring my team, because
Yes.
they have it all.
I got a list of, I got 6 pages, so.
No. Get
Don't
top
get us
five.
hit us,
Top
hit,
five,
hit,
please.
hit,
No.
hit us with something, but not all six, right?
One of our big emphasis going forward in the Parks Department is accessibility and inclusion, especially in our playgrounds or play spaces, making our spaces more available for everybody. So we have a couple big playground projects happening this year. Skiddy Parks want to get new pour and play rubber surface in, so new wheelchair accessible equipment. Ward Bakery will get a replacement this year. The Trailside Inner Harbor projects. We have the grants that we're working on right now for the 2 pool reconstructions, Onondaga Pool reconstruction and Thorndon Park reconstruction. Those are in their conceptual preliminary concept stages right now. Plan on coming out to the community more with those. There's some big projects that we're partnering with the engineering department on, so we always got to give them credit for a lot of their projects. Like at Elmwood, there's a big stream restoration that we're going to be working on this year. New security enhancements, of course. We're always looking at more cameras, security to keep pedestrians safe. Questions?
What we got going on this summer? What's
The chiller at Meacham.
Yes, we have a dehumidifier from a grant that we actually are putting in right now at Meacham. That's a big project that's going to save some of our energy costs there. What else besides?
Where
we're working
are
on
we
it.
with Homer Wheaton?
Homer Wheaton, you were waiting for me to get there.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I was with the Salt Springs neighborhood yesterday. Homer Wheaton, we're working on a conceptual, more of a finalized plan to put a new concession stand and bathroom unit at Homer Wheaton Park, which will just open it up to more permitting opportunities with leagues and teams.
The splash pad, right?
Yeah, that's been brought up to us recently about the need for a splash pad on the east side, besides Westmoreland, which is being done this year. We can look at Homer Wheaton to, increase the amenities, the use.
And as Josh quickly thanked engineer, I want to thank engineering as well as trades, because without those 2 departments, parks, we work as a team, so.
What about McKinley? Anything going on with McKinley?
In McKinley, right now, we only have a tentative playground pour-in-place rubber surface concept right now, which is just to replace the surface in with something that you'd rather have your kids on. That it will go along with the pavilion that was put there. We plan on doing some more upgrades to the picnic shelter area. A lot of planning for McKinley Park. We know it's a community that really has a voice, so we want to work with them as quickly as fast
I think
as
we
we
should
can.
change the name.
For McKinley?
Yes. Have a new name. Well, it's a favorite of a certain president who's in office now, President McKinley is, so maybe we should change the name. Well,
Chester Arthur Park?
Just kidding.
I think you guys are doing, I'm so proud to be the chair of the Parks Department. You guys are phenomenal, tough work, and recognize. One of the things that I'm going to push and access, we haven't talked about it, but we need trash cans, more trash cans in our parks.
We're working on it. Folks, constituents and residents are calling. I know someone from Jubilee already requested. And I'm actually walking every park right now to see where the trash cans are, where they're placed, what the park look like, taking notes of any damage. They're probably tired of me because I keep sending still shots, and just meeting and listening to the neighbors in every community to understand what the parks need.
Well, about 3-4, you started talking, Josh, about 5 years ago, when I was a part of, recreated the Dunk Your Junk program, so it was Let Me Be Great, Dunk Your Junk. And there should be about 50 trash cans running around there with backboards that could be put into the parks that was donated, brand new trash cans from the Hope Initiative. So we need to look at where those trash cans are.
Yeah, totally. We'll look into that, and if we can bring a program back to increase the real litter use in the
Yes.
trash cans, that'd be awesome. Just one big note, part of our trash cans are benches. Is we have been trying to standardize for a while now, just to have more consistency throughout our parks. If something goes down, we'll have a backup to replace it. But this year, we actually, working with Deputy Commissioner Chris Abbott, we rolled out our Memorial Bench program. So it's online, it's on the website. You could apply $100, get a plaque to go on any bench in any park. There's also some bench options that you could pick if you want to get a memorial bench to dedicate to somebody. Of course, that would have to come through the Common Council for your approval, but it's a process and a form that we put together to just be more engaging with the community, to give them more ownership over their park spaces.
last thing, Dunbar Park. We just gotta make sure.
Yep.
that
Looking at
we-
the playground
Yeah,
and the
playground
basketball court,
yeah,
the
get it
refinish of the
up
court.
For safety issues.
I also want to mention anything we left out, like public art, looking around our city, and realizing like most cities don't have a coordinator. We're thankful to have a coordinator that can look at public art around our city. We have arts and crafts, Burnett Park. Eva's been doing a really good job at increasing the time of day that classes are offered, evenings, weekends. Many people don't know that that center exists in Burnett Park. You can, pottery. I've never been able to play with clay or build something, and now, the opportunity is right at Burnett. Events we're getting requests for the bandwagons. Our events team and permitting team, they're as busy as ever. As you know, pools, and then our special events, Pops in the Park. Big Rig Day, don't forget, May 17th.
Just so that the community knows, thank you, Commissioner, and the team. One of the things I talked to Saisha is about any projects that have been, and I call them in the queue for a long time. We want to address them, move forward, and get them done before we start a lot of new projects. And then just having a comprehensive look at what is needed in the parks, what we can do, creating more stages. I think that's important. Making sure the fields and, are safe in the safety, the deer situation. So if anybody has any other suggestions or thoughts.
Commissioner, I just was wondering about the creek walk. We've talked about this for years, about having more security on the creek walk, and I'm not talking about police officers. But if we could somehow maybe put some positions, we have some positions in the budget, summer positions, maybe offer them to school teachers looking for a job. And just like they have down in Dallas and some of these other big cities where they have people who act as ambassadors on the creek walk, maybe outfit them with bicycles. I know the police department had a bunch of bicycles years ago that maybe they could use. So we could talk on that, because that's a great, I think that's underutilized, our creek walk is. And I think because some of the area, part of the area is very isolated, I think we probably could spur some people to maybe use it more. So if we could talk about that at some point.
Chris, Deputy Commissioner and I will be walking every Monday, inviting folks like yourselves and others to walk with us and our residents. And Creek Walk will be, a couple of those walks are on the Creek Walk. Some of them are in our parks. But I agree, we need to be more visible on the Creek Walk and in our parks. So
what, just out of curiosity, one of the things that I know that get utilized a lot at the park, especially by the community, is the stage, right? And I understand you only have one.
we have, Sankofa has a stage, it's just not covered. The amphitheater at Thornton Park is another performance space.
No, what I'm saying is.
Oh, we have
mobile
two.
stage.
We
You
have two, yeah.
And I know because especially from the New American side, they go in and they try to request it. It get booked like a year ahead. So I guess out of curiosity, isn't that a sort of like a revenue generating entity in a sense? And why do we only have two?
I mean,
Can I help you with that one?
I mean, yes, they bring the revenue, but not with the labor, the setup.
How much does it cost to rent it?
It's, I should know by heart, it's $350. Yeah, it's not that expensive. I'm gonna ask Anthony.
It is more than $550. It's a little bit more than $5. The bandwagon. But one of the things that I'm glad you brought that up, and I mentioned it to Commissioner Byrd, is we love the bandwagon and it get utilized for a lot of things, but we want to create those kind of stages in the parks, just like we have at Jubilee. So finding a comprehensive way to create that for every community to have their own stage, and then it still has to go through parks for renting, but at least it's already there. So it's not like we're fighting for, you know, if you get the permit for that park, you could probably also get the permit for the stage.
Yeah. Well, for the stage, for the built-in stages, you do not have to permit the stage, just the park. So for Jubilee, they permit the park. The stage is a element of the park.
Right.
Like a playground.
So it's in it. It's included in the cost.
We need to talk about that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Anthony Pham, the Special Events Coordinator for the Parks Department. Currently, the bandwagon, depending on which model that you rent, is about $500 to $750 per day per use. In terms of like the staff and labor it takes to bring it out, usually it takes at least 2 staff members to bring it out, sometimes 3, depending on the type of layout, the space needed, and like where we're setting it up. For instance, this past weekend, SU reserved it for one of their events on campus. But because we're going onto campus, it required navigating all the sidewalks, getting into the campus, and also dealing with some construction on site. So that alone sometimes takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours for setup. So accounting for both the delivery and pickup time, we essentially just break even right now with the costs, but we're still keeping pretty cost effective compared to other rental stages. One of the groups that rent stages for big events in downtown, the Mountain Goat Run and the Crawfish Festival this weekend, they rent through a separate organization, and they share that their costs are about double than what we charge. So our price point is still pretty conservative in terms of what we charge the community to rent it. Now that we have the second unit, we're hopeful to see it getting used more and more. And right now, we have it both units basically booked out for the entire summer, every weekend, which is great. Hopefully down the road, now that we have more stages built into our parks and stuff, we'll start to see more festivals and more events happening throughout our city, including at the Thornton Park Amphitheater, in a harbor, and Jubilee.
$750 is a bargain.
Per day.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a bargain. I mean, to rent a stage from a private company, I think we
Absolutely.
paid $3,500 last year.
Yeah,
so.
and these stages are all equipped with power and lighting too, so it all comes included with everything. Essentially, the only things that each renter would need to provide is their own sound equipment, and most people have like a portable boombox or a PA system, or they'll rent it if they don't already own one.
Commissioner, I have one question about security. Now, Parks does not have its own security, right? It's filled with Syracuse police. And I'm bringing this up because you got an email, I just got an email. We've had some issues at the entrance over Schiller Park pertaining to illegal drinking, partying. I was there last year. We had a group of teenagers set fire to one of the trash containers, caused issues. How are we working with city police, especially overnight, to keep our parks safe from any accident, from kids shouldn't be there milling around, maybe disrupting other events?
So I'm actually meeting with the police department and I just met with Syracuse City School District about safety and security of buildings, properties, golf courses, and just working as a team across the city to patrol the parks. There are cameras. Schiller's camera is fixed on the door. I know that was an issue for a while. It's fixed and it's up and running again. We also depend on the police department to get footage from their cameras.
Absolutely. We had an issue last week, and police were there. Thank you.
Well, if we have no other questions, any concerns, I would say this meeting is over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.